Have you ever looked at a pile of scrap wood in your workshop and thought, this is just leftover material? While someone else takes pieces that look almost identical and sells them as high-end designer products for 10 times the price. What if the difference isn't better tools or expensive wood? That's something far more subtle, something most people completely overlook. Because here's the truth that might completely change how you see your work. The gap between a scrap project and a designer piece is not the material. It's the intention behind the design. Most makers approach scrap wood with a survival mindset. They're trying to use everything, minimize waste, make something useful. And that's respectable, but it also traps your work in a very specific category. The moment your goal is just to use up wood, you've already limited the value of what you're creating. Because high-end design doesn't come from saving materials. It comes from curating them. And that shift from saving to curating is where everything begins to change. Now think about the last scrap wood project you saw online. Chances are it looked rustic. Maybe visible screws, uneven grain patterns, bulky proportions, random assembly. It feels handmade, but not in a premium way. More like a hobby. And here's the uncomfortable part. That rustic look, while popular in some circles, often signals low value to high-end buyers. It tells them this piece wasn't designed, it was assembled. And in the world of premium products, that distinction matters more than most people realize. Because when you walk into a luxury boutique or scroll through high-end furniture brands, you'll notice something immediately. The designs feel calm, intentional, almost effortless. There's space, there's balance, nothing feels random. And that's not by accident. That's strategy. Every line, every edge, every shadow is doing a specific job. And the moment you start applying those same principles to your scrap wood, your entire output transforms. So let's start with the first shift that separates hobbyists from designers. Architectural grain alignment. This is one of those details that most people ignore. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. When you randomly glue pieces together without considering grain direction, light hits each section differently. The surface feels broken, chaotic. But when you align the grain intentionally, when you treat those small offcuts like parts of a larger visual system, you create something entirely different. You create continuity. Imagine taking small scraps and arranging them so the growth rings flow in the same direction. Or even better, using a technique called book matching, where two mirrored pieces create a symmetrical pattern. Suddenly, what used to look like leftovers starts to resemble a deliberate, high-end surface. It mimics the look of expensive solid slabs, without actually being one. And that's where value starts to emerge, not from the material itself, but from how intelligently it's used. And here's where it gets even more powerful. When your grain alignment is consistent, light reflects evenly across the surface. That subtle detail alone can make a piece feel expensive without the viewer even knowing why. It's not something they consciously notice, but it's something they feel. And in design, that feeling is everything. Now let's move into something that might completely flip how you think about building. Negative space. Because most scrap projects have one thing in common, they try to fill every gap. More wood, more structure, more bulk. But high-end design does the opposite. It removes. It creates space. It allows the piece to breathe. This is where shadow gap joinery comes in. Instead of tightly closing every joint, you intentionally introduce small gaps, often just a few millimeters, that create shadow lines. These shadows add depth, contrast, and a sense of precision. It makes the piece look engineered, not improvised. And more importantly, it creates the illusion that parts of your design are floating. Think about that for a second. You're using less material, but creating more visual impact. That's the paradox of high-end design. It's not about adding more, it's about removing what doesn't need to be there. And when you combine that with something as simple as a dark-stained internal edge or rebate, you amplify the effect even further. Now your piece isn't just functional, it has depth. It has layers. It draws the eye in. And suddenly, what started as scrap wood begins to feel like a curated object. Something you'd expect to see in a modern design store, not a workshop. But here's where most people stop and where you can go further. Because once you understand grain alignment and negative space, the next level is precision through geometric symmetry. And this is where your work starts to feel truly intentional. Because randomness is the enemy of premium design. When dimensions feel arbitrary, the piece feels accidental. But when proportions follow a system like the golden ratio, something changes. The piece feels balanced, harmonious, complete. Even if the viewer doesn't know why, they can sense it. So instead of cutting scraps to whatever size is convenient, you start designing around proportion. You begin to see each offcut not as a limitation, but as a component in a larger system. And when those components repeat, when you create modular patterns, consistent angles, aligned edges, you transform visual chaos into cohesion. Even something as simple as adding a 45-degree chamfer or a subtle undercut can completely change how thick, heavy wood appears. It slims it down visually. It adds sophistication. It tells the viewer, this wasn't just made, it was designed. And this is the moment where everything starts to click. You're no longer just building objects. You're shaping perception. You're controlling how light interacts with surfaces, how shadows define form, how proportions influence emotion. And once you reach this point, scrap wood stops being a limitation and starts becoming an advantage. Because now, you're not competing on material, you're competing on design. And design is where the real value lives. And once you understand that design is where the real value lives, the final transformation happens in the details most people completely ignore, the finishing touches. Because this is where a piece either confirms its premium identity or quietly falls back into the DIY project category. And the difference is often just a few small decisions that most makers never think twice about. Let's start with hardware, because this is one of the fastest ways to instantly upgrade or downgrade the perceived value of your work. Most scrap wood projects rely on visible screws, shiny hinges, or off-the-shelf handles. And while they work functionally, they break the illusion of intentional design. They remind the viewer that this was assembled, not crafted. High-end design, on the other hand, hides complexity. It removes visual noise. That's why premium pieces often use integrated handles, hidden joinery, or magnetic closures. The goal is simple. Nothing should distract from the form itself. When someone looks at your piece, their attention should go to the shape, the proportions, the flow, not the hardware holding it together. Now let's talk about surface finishing, because this is where most people unintentionally sabotage their own work. Traditional glossy finishes might seem appealing, because they make the wood shine. But in high-end design, too much shine actually cheapens the look. It reflects light unevenly, highlights imperfections, and makes the piece feel mass-produced rather than refined. Modern designer brands have moved in the opposite direction. They aim for a soft, matte, almost naked wood appearance. Something that feels natural, understated, and controlled. And this is where advanced finishes like matte sealers or ceramic-based coatings come into play. They protect the wood while preserving its raw character, allowing the grain and form to speak without distraction. And here's something subtle but incredibly powerful. When you combine a matte finish with everything we talked about earlier, aligned grain, negative space, clean geometry, you create a surface that doesn't just look good. It feels intentional. It invites touch. It communicates quality without needing to say anything. And that's exactly what premium products do. They don't scream for attention. They earn it quietly. Now let's take it one step further. Because if you truly want to shift from making projects to building a designer brand, you need to think beyond the object itself. You need to think about identity. Because high-end products aren't just sold, they're recognized. And one of the simplest ways to start building that recognition is through a minimalist maker's mark. This doesn't mean a big logo stamped across your piece. In fact, that often does the opposite of what you want. Instead, think subtle. A small, clean mark placed intentionally on the underside, on an edge, or integrated into the design itself. Something that feels like a signature, not an advertisement. Because what you're doing here is signaling confidence. You're saying, this piece stands on its own. And over time, that consistency becomes your brand. And when you step back and look at everything we've covered, you start to see the bigger picture. This isn't about woodworking anymore. It's about perception. It's about understanding how small design decisions influence how people feel about what you create. Because at the end of the day, buyers don't pay for wood. They pay for the experience of owning something that feels refined, intentional, and rare. And here's the part most people miss. You don't need better materials to achieve this. You don't need expensive tools or a larger workshop. You just need to think differently about what you already have. Because the same pile of scrap wood that most people see as waste can become high-margin, gallery-worthy inventory when approached with the right strategy. So instead of asking, what can I make with these scraps? Start asking a better question. What would a designer do with this material? That one shift changes everything. It forces you to slow down, to observe, to make decisions with intention, instead of convenience. And that's where the transformation happens, not in the tools, not in the wood, but in the way you think. Because once you start designing with intention, something interesting happens. Your work begins to stand out. Not because it's louder or more complex, but because it's cleaner, more focused, more refined. And in a market flooded with noise, that kind of clarity becomes incredibly valuable. So here's your challenge. The next time you walk into your workshop, don't reach for your best lumber. Go straight to your scrap pile. Pick a few pieces not randomly, but deliberately. Look at the grain. Consider the proportions. Think about how they could come together as part of a cohesive design. Then apply just one of the principles we talked about today. Align the grain. Introduce negative space. Simplify the form. Just one. And see how it changes the result. Because this isn't about doing everything at once. It's about building a new way of seeing. And once you develop that eye for design, you'll never look at scrap wood the same way again. And if this video shifted how you think, even just a little, make sure you subscribe. Because on this channel, we're not just making things. We're learning how to create value from what others overlook. We're turning limitations into leverage and ideas into assets. And before you go, drop a comment below and tell me what's one design principle you're going to apply to your next project. Because the moment you start thinking like a designer is the moment your work starts being valued like one.